Am I the antagonist for refusing to meet cousin's baby? Me, female 25, and my cousin, female 29, have an interesting history. The story begins in 1994 when my mom was pregnant and had already chosen a name for a girl. However, it turned out that she was actually carrying my big brother. Coincidentally, my auntie discovered she was having a girl as well, so she decided to use the name my mom had initially chosen. Fast forward to 1998 when I was born. Auntie and Grandma asked my mom if she was going to name me the same name as my cousin, essentially becoming cousin's name 2.0. This offended my mom, but she brushed it off. This name situation has stuck with me. The issue is that my cousin has always been the golden child in our family. Despite having 9 grandchildren, my grandma only really cares about her. This used to hurt me a lot when I was around 5 years old, but now I've grown indifferent to it. Being the golden child has made my cousin feel entitled to everything. She would always use any birthday party idea I had before me. If I wanted a certain gift, she would either have it first or accuse me of copying her if I got it later. The situation escalated to the point where everyone in our family assumed we were the same age due to her influence. Sadly, she never attended any significant events in my life. Her parents would come up with flimsy excuses, including missing my 15th birthday. After years of disappointment, I realized it was futile to try and befriend her. Now we arrive in 2022, and she announces her pregnancy, expecting a girl. In December 2022, during the World Cup, our family gathered at my parents' house to watch our country's games. However, my cousin was absent. During the halftime break, her mom publicly informed me that my cousin would be using my name for her baby. Despite feeling frustrated, I controlled my emotions and acted happy. A day later, I sent my cousin an invitation to my 25th birthday, but she never responded. I saw this as an opportunity to inform my parents that I no longer want her in my life. She had taken everything that belonged to me, lied to get me in trouble, and even stole my name, just like her mom did in 1994. I understand that this may sound crazy to some of you, but I'm simply annoyed. It feels like her final move in a long game she has been playing alone all these years. Now she wants to host an event to introduce her baby, and I know my family will throw shade at me to see how I react. That's just the way they are. As a result, I informed my parents that as soon as they finalize the date, I'll be booking a ticket to go to my brother's place, so I can avoid attending. My mom supports my decision, but my dad believes I should be the bigger person and thinks I would be in the wrong if I don't attend. However, I know myself well enough to realize that I won't be able to hide my annoyance, and it will be evident on my face. I'm not excessively angry, I'm just tired and don't want any more of this drama in my life. Your cousin has consistently shown entitlement and has a history of taking things that are important to you, such as your name. It's understandable that you would be frustrated and annoyed by her actions. Additionally, the fact that she has not attended major events in your life and has lied and gotten you in trouble in the past further supports your decision to distance yourself from her. Your dad may think that you should be the bigger person, but considering the long history of issues and the likelihood of further drama at the upcoming event, it's understandable that you would want to avoid it. Ultimately, it's your decision to prioritize your own peace of mind and well-being. Am I the antagonist for refusing to stay with my sister to babysit her baby? I just graduated from university 2 months ago and have been staying at my boyfriend's place for 2 reasons. First, it's easier to find a job since his place is closer to the city. Second, whenever I stayed over at my sister's place, I would end up being the only one doing the chores and cooking. 6 months before I left for my last semester at university, my older sister had a baby with a guy from her work. The situation is complicated, as the guy has a wife and child but still pursued a relationship with my sister. Neither of them have a stable income as they work in a band. Despite this, my sister wanted to have a baby with him because he promised to leave his wife for her, which he didn't. Now, my sister frequently asks me to help take care of the baby, particularly on weekends or when she has gigs at night. At first, I was okay with it since I hadn't found a job yet and was primarily focused on my crochet business. However, it has become more frequent, making it difficult for me to work on my business and look for a job, especially since my sister doesn't pay me for babysitting. I've raised this issue with my parents before, but my mom advises me to work it out with my sister, while my dad is sympathetic towards my sister for having to rely on a friend to babysit instead of me. When I discuss this with my sister, she claims she doesn't have the money for a nanny or daycare, nor does she have the means to pay me. She spends any extra money she gets on music equipment instead. Recently, she asked me to babysit for 5 days without pay, as her friend who had been helping out would be out of town. Due to feeling unwell because of my period, I agreed to babysit for only 2 days this time. She seemed to be fine with my decision and suggested sending the baby to another friend who has helped her in the past when I was still in university. Today, I found out that she told our parents that I was staying at my boyfriend's place instead of taking care of the baby, even though I was actually fulfilling my responsibilities. As a result, my mom texted me angrily, accusing me of refusing to take care of my nephew for the entire week. I clarified to her that I did take care of the baby and only stayed at my boyfriend's place during the days I wouldn't be babysitting. Both my parents, after our recent visit, have been pressuring me to stay with my sister and help with the baby even more. I've made it clear that I don't want to be stuck babysitting a baby that isn't my responsibility, especially when my sister doesn't compensate me for my help. However, they believe I am being unreasonable. Am I actually in the wrong for refusing to stay with my sister and assist with babysitting? You have valid reasons for staying at your boyfriend's place, such as it being closer to the city for job hunting. Additionally, you have expressed concerns about the frequency and lack of compensation for babysitting your sister's child, which is affecting your ability to work on your own business and find a job. It is not your responsibility to constantly babysit your nephew without any compensation, especially if it interferes with your own goals and plans. Your sister should find alternative arrangements like a nanny or daycare, especially if she has admitted to having money but choosing to spend it on other things instead. Your parents may have their own opinions, but ultimately, you have the right to prioritize your own life and not be burdened with caregiving responsibilities that you did not sign up for. Am I the antagonist for splitting the bill at dinner? So I recently moved away from home for school, leaving my family and friends behind. A few weeks ago, my friends from home came to visit me because their school had a long weekend. They rented an Airbnb near my school, and we spent a lot of time together during that weekend. However, the incident I'm about to describe happened on their last night here. To give some context, I have no financial issues, and I even contributed to their Airbnb payment when they asked for help beforehand. Only one of my friends has a job, so they were all trying to save money during this trip, which I completely understand. However, during dinner that night, they suddenly decided to go to a very expensive restaurant. I had never been there, but I heard it was nice, so I skipped lunch in order to fully enjoy the food. When we arrived, my friends immediately mentioned that they were only going to order appetizers and drinks because the main dishes were quite pricey, ranging from $30 to $40 and even higher. I, on the other hand, said I was going to order a lot because I hadn't eaten much that day. I ended up ordering a ribeye steak for $78 and 3 appetizers, fries for $12, mac and cheese for $16, and a cheese board for $1.20. I specifically suggested sharing the cheese board, as I knew I couldn't finish it on my own. This detail is important. All of my friends ordered individual appetizers or starters for themselves. As soon as the food arrived, they quickly finished their dishes. I was taking my time savoring my steak, but then they started helping themselves to the appetizers I had ordered. By that point, I only had a small portion of my mac and cheese left and maybe 8 fries. They didn't even offer me any cheese from the cheese board because, and I quote, "the mac and cheese already had cheese in it." It was confusing. On top of that, they had also ordered drinks for themselves, which cost around $15 each. At this point, I was starting to feel upset. When the waitress asked if we would split the bill, I spoke up before anyone else could and suggested splitting the cost of the appetizers among the 4 of us. After the waitress left, I could sense a shift in the atmosphere. They weren't joking around as much, and the conversation felt strained. We still said friendly goodbyes to each other. But as the weeks passed after they left, I noticed that my friends weren't contacting me as frequently as before. I reached out to one of them who I was closest to, and they revealed that they were kind of angry because I split the cost of the appetizers that I had ordered when they had specifically mentioned not wanting to spend much money. This made me feel bad because I never intended for there to be any conflict during their visit, since they had come all the way to see me. Now I'm starting to think I should have just paid for everything. Am I the asshole? Your friends were inconsiderate and took advantage of your generosity. They knew the prices of the restaurant and made a conscious decision to only order appetizers, while you decided to go all out and treat yourself. It was perfectly reasonable for you to ask them to split the appetizers you had ordered, especially since they had been eating from your plate without permission. Additionally, you had already chipped in for the Airbnb payment, so you had already contributed financially to their trip. Your friend's reaction and reduced contact afterwards seemed to be an overreaction and not justified. Am I the antagonist for telling my father it's not my fault he failed at his dream? I, a 21-year-old female, want to start by saying that I do love my dad, who is 59 years old. However, I have reached my breaking point. Throughout his life, my father has always had a passion for race car driving. When he was in his 30s, he finally had the time and money to seriously pursue this dream. He has a collection of trophies and VHS tapes from his approximately 10 years of racing that are stored in our house. Unfortunately, due to the expenses and some substance issues, he was unable to go pro. He stopped racing when I was 5 years old. Since my birth, he has excessively channeled his passion towards me, especially after he quit racing. I was even born while he was watching a rerun of one of his idol's races on the hospital TV in my mom's room, according to him. He even named me after his idol's daughter, using both her first and middle name. He has spent my entire life trying to get me involved in racing. While I admit that certain aspects are enjoyable, such as being a passenger during a drag race a couple of times, I have absolutely no interest in racing, whether it be amateur or professional. Apart from lacking any personal desire, I find it incredibly dangerous. During his racing years, my father suffered numerous injuries and even had a near-death experience. I have no desire to put myself in harm's way. Unfortunately, my father refuses to listen to me. Whenever I tell him that I'm not interested, he insists that I give it a try. When I explain how dangerous it is, He talks about safety measures and believes that my concerns will vanish once I start pursuing it. Even when I express my passion for becoming a novelist, he suggests that I write novels on the side. Throughout my life, my father has constantly emphasized racing and the importance of achieving good grades. Yesterday, he called me to check up on me. I mentioned having some essays due soon and shared my frustration about dealing with difficult customers at work, which left me tired and stressed. How did he respond? He suggested that I quit my job, drop out of college, move back in with him, and start racing. He claimed that he had been saving money for me, waiting for the moment when I was ready to pursue it. I firmly declined his offer and asked why he didn't simply provide financial assistance for my education, as I am responsible for covering all expenses myself, unlike my other family members. He replied by saying that I seem to be managing fine on my own, and that the money he saved is intended for my future career as the best female NASCAR driver. I told him once again that I don't want to be a race car driver and that he needed to stop pressuring me. I emphasized that it wasn't my fault he failed to achieve his dream, and that I shouldn't exist solely for him to live vicariously through, despite his belief otherwise. He became defensive, calling me a brat and claiming I had crossed a line. He then attempted to brush it off with laughter, but I informed him that I needed to end the conversation. We said our goodbyes and hung up. Today, my mom, who has a good relationship with my dad now, texted me to let me know that he was hurt by what I said and feeling regretful. I explained to her that he has been pushing my boundaries my entire life, and despite politely asking him to stop on numerous occasions, he has not listened. Perhaps I am too angry to see it objectively, but was I wrong in this situation? You have reached your breaking point considering your father's constant pressure and disregard for your own interests and aspirations. You have repeatedly communicated your disinterest in racing, yet he continues to push it on you and even suggests that you drop everything else to pursue it. Your frustration is valid, and you should not have to sacrifice your own dreams and happiness to fulfill your father's unfulfilled desires. It is important to stand up for yourself and assert your own autonomy. You deserve to pursue your own passions and build a future that aligns with your own interests. Your father's inability to understand and respect your boundaries is not your fault, and you have every right to express your feelings and frustrations. However, it is also important to approach this situation with empathy and understanding. While you are not the asshole, it would be helpful to have an open and honest conversation with your father about how his actions are affecting you. Perhaps he is struggling with letting go of his own unfulfilled dreams and needs support in finding new outlets for his passion. By expressing your feelings and discussing potential compromises, you can work towards finding a resolution and improving your relationship with your father. Am I the antagonist if I stop taking my brother's kids to school every day? I will start by saying that there is a history of tension between my brother and me, which might be affecting my judgment, and is the reason why I am expressing my concerns here. For the past few weeks, I have been taking my brother's two youngest children, both 5 years old, one boy and one girl, to school. Initially, I did not want to do this because it disrupts the routine I had established for another niece under my guardianship. Unfortunately, my brother often runs late, and as a result, the kids are not ready on time. This lateness not only affects them but also makes my own child late for school. On top of that, my brother expects me to run errands for him, such as taking him to the store or to work after dropping off the kids. However, I have been hesitant to comply with all his requests. To make matters worse, I don't particularly like his kids, especially his daughter. Although I love them because they are family, I do not enjoy their company. His daughter behaves in a mean, bossy, and bullying manner towards her siblings. Sadly, my brother does not take any action to address this behavior because she is his favored child. While his son is generally fine, he can also be disruptive and mean. He often calls me names or kicks my seat while I'm driving. When I attempt to stop him, my brother becomes upset with me. Today, everyone was running late, including myself, and my brother wanted me to give him a ride to work. However, this was impossible without making me late for my own job. In response, he went on a lengthy rant, claiming that he has no help and that nobody cares about his children or wants to assist him. The truth is that my brother fails to appreciate anything and always expects more. No matter what I do, it is never enough for him. I'm constantly exhausted because I work a demanding job with long hours. Due to his lack of gratitude and incessant demands for more, I no longer wish to go the extra mile by taking care of his children. However, I am aware that if I stop giving them rides, the kids will have no way to get to school since my brother does not have a car or a driver's license. So would I be wrong if I decide to stop giving them a ride? It seems like you have been going above and beyond to help your brother by taking his kids to school, even though it interferes with your routine and causes inconvenience for you and your own child. Your brother's lack of appreciation and constant demands for more are unfair, and it's understandable that you feel exhausted and frustrated. While it's unfortunate that the kids will not have a way to get to school if you stop giving them a ride, it's not your responsibility to provide transportation for them. Your brother should make alternate arrangements, such as finding a carpool or arranging for public transportation. It's important to prioritize your own well-being and not allow yourself to be taken for granted. Wibtah, If I tell my friend that she needs to make more friends because I cannot keep up with her social needs? I am a 26-year-old female who works full-time, and my schedule is quite busy. I have a large social circle and many family obligations that require my time and attention. Despite this, I make an effort to prioritize my friendships, including my friendship with a particular friend. We usually meet at least once a week and spend a couple of hours together. However, my friend, a 28-year-old female, has a different situation. She is currently unemployed, and her family is small, so she has a lot of free time. Lately, she's been doubting our relationship and wondering if I'm tired of her or bored when we spend time together. We have been friends since childhood but became particularly close in 2020. When I asked her about her doubts, she explained that she feels I don't spend enough time with her. She also sometimes blames my family for asking me to come home and help with various tasks and responsibilities. To accommodate her wishes, I have already prioritized her over other friend groups, but it's becoming quite exhausting for me. For example, just yesterday we had breakfast and spent around 4 hours together at a local fair. However, when my mother called and asked me to pick up my 16-year-old brother, I had to end our outing for the day. She suggested alternatives like my brother taking a cab or calling another sibling for help, and she still asked if I was bored of her when I explained that it was not possible. Additionally, when I visit her, I usually stay for slightly over 2 hours. When it's time to say goodbye, she often asks me to stay longer, questioning if it's because I'm hungry or something. Even when I insist on leaving, she mentions that she visits me for longer hours and feels I'm always in a hurry to leave. I genuinely care about this friendship and don't want to hurt her feelings. However, I'm also aware that I can't continue at this pace, and it's taking a toll on me. I'm already giving as much as I can in this relationship, but it still doesn't seem enough for her. While I value and want to stay by her side, I cannot do more than what I'm already doing. I'm already spending most of my free time with her, which means sacrificing other relationships and responsibilities. I don't want her to doubt our friendship, but I want her to understand the effort I'm putting in and stop feeling insecure. So, would it be wrong if I tell her that she should make more friends because I cannot keep up with her social needs? You wouldn't necessarily be an asshole if you communicate your feelings to your friend, but it's important to approach the conversation with empathy and understanding. It seems like your friend may be feeling insecure and seeking reassurance, so it's important to validate her feelings while also expressing your own needs and limitations. Instead of suggesting that she needs to make more friends, which could come across as dismissive, you could focus on highlighting your own constraints and explaining why you're unable to meet all of her social needs. Encourage her to explore different activities or join clubs and groups where she can meet new people and build friendships. This way, you're offering a potential solution without directly telling her what to do. Furthermore, try to find a balance that works for both of you in terms of spending time together. Perhaps you can schedule regular outings or activities that fit within your busy schedule, allowing her to have that quality time with you while also managing your own responsibilities and relationships. By open and honest communication, you can work towards a solution that benefits both of you. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.